Okay, so, a lot of you've been asking about this lately and, sending in a bunch of stuff about, AI versus human advisors.
Hmm.
And, especially, I think for our listeners, a lot of you are expats. So it's especially, relevant.
Yeah, it's a big question.
Yeah, so we've got all this great material you've sent in articles, research studies.
Yeah.
And, we want to really kind of like distill this down into, what are the core takeaways here?
Yeah, and which one's right for you?
Exactly right. For you, is it AI? Is it human? Is it some
Yeah.
kind of combination?
Yeah, some people are doing both.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
let's dive in.
All right.
I love this image we have, by the way, the handshake with
Yeah.
binary code. I think it really
That's perfect.
captures kind of like, where things are headed with this whole like, intersection of human and artificial intelligence in our finances. So, okay, let's start with just like the nuts and bolts of investing, like investment performance. How is risk managed by each of these approaches?
Yeah, so I mean, one thing that's pretty fascinating is you look at stable market conditions and robo-advisors, which are kind of the main way AI is showing up in retail investing, tend to track pretty closely with human advisors.
Interesting.
I mean, the Vanguard study you sent showed like comparable returns, generally that 2 to 5% range annually over 5 years. Obviously depends on the specific investments.
Right. Sure.
But one insight there is that, both of them in those kind of stable times are often relying on similar broad market benchmarks passive strategy.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. So it makes sense that they kind of end up.
Yeah. And it's interesting because robo-advisors, of course, are generally lower cost than
Always lower fees.
much lower fees.
Yeah.
So it really begs the question then, if in those predictable times they're pretty much performing the same, where does the value lie?
Yeah. Where's the differentiation?
Yeah, but then we look at something like the Journal of Wealth Management experiment, and it's a little bit more of
It's a little more nuanced,
nuanced picture, isn't it?
Yeah, and in that one, they directly compared like a skilled human advisor against a top robo-advisor, and the human advisor actually outperformed.
Interesting.
Even after you factor in their fees.
Wow.
So across all these scenarios they tested, the human advisor was better by an average of like 1.47% net of fees.
Okay.
So that suggests, a really experienced professional can still
Add value.
Yeah, through their strategy.
Right.
Asset selection, market timing, things that the AI is not quite doing yet.
Got it. So in those relatively calm waters, AI can deliver, market level returns efficiently, but a really, really good human advisor could potentially
edge it out a little bit.
Edge it out. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
But what happens when the market gets like really volatile?
Right.
We saw some interesting data about the whole COVID crash back in 2020.
Yeah, that was fascinating because it really highlighted a different strength of AI, which is this ability to respond very quickly and rationally to these sudden shocks.
Right.
So the research you sent showed that the robo-advisors, they reacted very fast, very logically to the initial panic around the pandemic.
Right.
Automatically adjusting portfolios to reduce risk.
Okay.
Going into less volatile assets. And a lot of human investors were slower to react or, made more emotional decisions.
Of course.
Yeah. So that actually led to a pretty significant difference.
Yeah.
Users of robo-advisors saw about a 12.7% smaller drop.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, during that crash.
Okay.
And then those who were doing human-guided investments.
Yeah.
So that really highlights like the strength of,
a
rules-based system.
Right.
And reacting consistently to these predefined triggers. Where human emotion often gets in the way.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about fear.
Right.
Yeah.
So the algorithms basically stay cool.
Yeah.
When things get crazy.
Exactly.
But the research also cautioned us that those strengths of AI could also be limitations in certain types of markets.
That's right. Yeah.
What did they mean by that?
So AI, it's great when you're dealing with these established patterns, data-driven rules.
Right.
But in more unusual or unprecedented situations, where you need to understand the why and make a nuanced judgment call.
Yeah.
Human advisors can offer insights that algorithms might miss.
Okay.
So, for example, if there's a huge geopolitical event.
Right.
Or a big policy shift from a government that sends shockwaves through the market.
Yeah.
A human can kind of analyze the long-term implications,
right.
adjust strategies accordingly,
right.
Factor in these qualitative things where a robo-advisor might just stick to its pre-programmed rebalancing.
Yeah.
Without really grasping the bigger picture.
Interesting, yeah. And there was even mention of, the speed of algorithms potentially being a drawback in some cases, like in institutional settings, even contributing to things like flash crashes.
Right.
Which I guess reminds us that faster isn't always better.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's good to pause and think a little bit.
Yeah. So let's kind of sum up this performance piece then.
Okay.
So it sounds like AI, offers that consistency, data-driven execution, eliminates emotional bias, very good at maintaining discipline within a set framework.
Yeah.
But it's limited by,
programming and data.
It's programming and the data that it has.
Exactly.
Humans, on the other hand, adaptable, can incorporate this qualitative analysis, respond to these novel situations. So top human managers potentially outperform.
Yeah.
But of course, there's also the risk that they could underperform as well.
Right. They're not all created equal.
Exactly. Yeah. So it really seems like for investors who are looking for consistent market following returns, automated discipline AI is a great option. But if you're dealing with, more complex situations, unpredictable things.
Yeah, or if you really believe in the power of a human to, spot opportunities or risks that the algorithm might miss.
Yeah.
Then human advisor might be better.
Okay, and you alluded to this idea of a hybrid approach as maybe being the best of both worlds for a lot of people, including expats. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the hybrid approach is this idea that you can kind of get the best of both. You could use low-cost AI tools for that core part of your portfolio.
Right.
The diversified stuff that's, kind of the bedrock. And then work with a human advisor for the more complex financial planning.
Right.
Maybe navigating specific market uncertainties or things that are unique to,
your
situation. As an expat that the AI platform doesn't really handle.
Yeah, it's leveraging the efficiency and the cost effectiveness of AI for the routine stuff, but then having the personalized strategic thinking of a human.
Exactly.
For the trickier parts of your financial life.
Yep.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about, the role of emotions in investing.
Right.
Because we all know that, our feelings can sometimes lead us to make bad financial decisions.
Yeah, the heart versus the head.
Right, exactly. So where do human advisors and AI fit into this?
So this is where human advisors really shine.
Okay.
I mean, they provide a lot of value in behavioral coaching.
Okay.
And the Delbar study is a great example. It shows consistently over time that the average investor seriously underperforms the market. We're talking big differences in long-term returns.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is attributed to just emotional decision-making.
Right.
Bad market timing.
Buy high, sell low.
Yeah, the classic buy high, sell low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does a human advisor help with that?
Right. How do they act as that behavioral backstop, when
Right. Well, they can provide that guidance and support when you're most tempted to deviate from your plan.
Yeah.
Because of fear or exuberance.
Right.
So let's say the market drops suddenly. You get that urge to sell everything.
Right.
Just, stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
A human advisor can talk you through that.
Right.
Remind you of your long-term strategy, your goals.
Right.
And hopefully prevent you from making a decision you regret.
Right.
They can also, warn you against getting caught up in the hype, chasing those trends without really
understanding the risk.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the numbers. It's having that empathetic, rational voice to kind of keep you grounded when you're freaking out.
Yeah.
And the research even talks about the emotional value that human advisors provide, like the peace of mind of knowing that you've got someone you trust guiding you.
Yeah. And that Vanguard survey found that investors who work with human advisors, they consistently rated that emotional support as a key benefit.
Okay.
Often as valuable as the actual returns.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then on the AI side, a robo-advisor is not going to, give you a hug when the market's crashing.
No.
But they do enforce a certain level of discipline, don't they?
Right. Well, just by their very nature.
Yeah.
They enforce discipline through that automated rebalancing,
Right.
sticking to the algorithm.
Yeah.
So they're not susceptible to,
Right.
fear or greed
Right.
in the same way.
Yeah.
And for some investors, that can be a big advantage, that automated discipline.
Right.
But it's important to remember that the systems don't physically prevent you from overriding them.
Right. So
You can still go in.
Yeah. During a downturn, you can still log in and sell.
Right.
So the emotion's not totally gone.
Yeah.
Unless you resist that impulse.
And we did see some examples of robo-platforms trying to kind of, provide a little bit of a nudge in those stressful times.
Like around Brexit?
Right around Brexit. But it's not really the same as having a conversation with a human, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, some platforms might send reassuring messages.
Right.
Or even pause trading temporarily.
Yeah.
But it lacks that personalized
Right.
comfort and reassurance.
Yeah.
And AI-powered chat assistants, they're getting better, but they're still limited in how much emotional support they can give.
Right.
They can offer information, answer questions,
Right.
but no empathy.
Right.
And they can't build that trust.
Yeah. So it seems like on the emotional side, humans really have the edge.
Yeah, they can prevent those costly errors. They can add a lot of advisor alpha.
Yeah.
Just by keeping you on track.
Right.
And this is probably especially true for expats.
Yeah.
Who, might have extra anxieties
Right.
about their international finances.
Right.
So unless you're like an incredibly disciplined person who can just stick to the plan no matter what, the guidance from a human is really valuable.
Okay, so let's talk about this idea of holistic financial planning.
Okay.
Because, it's not just about
It's bigger.
picking investments, right?
Yeah, it's the whole picture.
Yeah.
So holistic financial planning, that's taking into account all aspects.
Right.
Retirement taxes, insurance, estate planning, cash flow, and developing a strategy that aligns with your life objectives.
And this is where human advisors, especially those with, certifications like CFPs, certified financial planners, really outperform robo-advisors, don't they?
They do.
Because they can actually sit down with you and understand your aspirations for your life.
Right.
And kind of weave all those financial elements together.
Exactly. They can ask the really important questions.
Yeah.
When do you want to retire? What kind of lifestyle? What are your goals for your kids?
Right.
Your insurance needs estate planning.
Right.
Pull all that together
Right.
into a plan.
And for expats, that's even more crucial.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got
way more complex.
tax regulations in different countries, currency exchange, retirement planning, across different systems.
Yeah.
Robos just aren't there yet.
No, not even close.
Yeah, because they mainly focus on the investment management piece.
Right.
They might have some, basic tools like a retirement calculator or tax loss harvesting.
Yeah.
But they can't give you advice on,
Right.
the more complex stuff, like optimizing your tax situation across different income sources, or refinancing your mortgage, or
estate planning,
stock options, all of those things.
Look, one wealth management firm they're good at automating the basic stuff.
Yeah, the fundamental.
But not the sophisticated stuff.
Yeah, the advanced planning.
Yeah, and the example of, the expat who owns property in one country, has a U.S. retirement account, is working in Dubai, wants to retire in Europe.
Right.
Like, that's
a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And a robo-advisor managing just one piece of that is not gonna...
It's not going to cut it.
Yeah. So you need someone who can kind of...
You need that holistic.
Bring it all together.
Yeah. Look at everything.
Yeah. So a human advisor with international expertise can look at those tax treaties, navigate the currency fluctuations, figure out where to put the investments from a tax perspective, make sure the estate plan covers everything.
And they can bring in...
And they can work with other professionals.
Yeah.
Accountants, lawyers.
Coordinate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which robos just don't do.
Yeah. So it seems like if your financial situation is pretty simple, a robo might be okay.
Yeah. For the basic investing.
Yeah.
But for anything complex.
Yeah.
Holistic advice.
Especially with multiple goals.
Yeah.
Humans are better.
Much better.
And there are these hybrid services popping up trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah. That's an interesting development.
Yeah.
You get the automated investing, but also access to a human when you need it.
Right.
which could be good for expats.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, let's talk about this idea of service quality and personalization. Because it's not just about the advice itself.
No, it's the experience.
It's the whole experience, right? So
service quality, we're talking about how much customization is there? Do they really accommodate your needs?
yeah.
How easy is it to communicate? What's the quality of the answers?
And there's a pretty big difference there between
That's huge, yeah.
AI platforms and human advisors.
Yeah.
Because a human advisor can...
A human advisor can really get to know you.
Right.
You know, it's not just surface level data.
Right.
It's your personality.
Yeah.
Your family dynamics, your anxieties, aspirations, your values.
And that allows them to tailor the advice
Right.
to your individual circumstances.
Exactly. So they can recommend specific solutions based on, you know, whether you need a special needs trust or you're really into ESG investing
Right.
or you're an expat who's planning to relocate. They can adjust your strategy as you go.
Right.
And they communicate directly with you
Right.
to answer any questions you have.
And that proactive, personalized touch seems so important.
It's huge.
To be able to reach out to someone who
Right.
understands your situation.
Yeah, and clients love that.
Yeah.
You know, they love feeling like their advisor gets them, you know, and can proactively suggest things
Right.
that fit their goals.
Yeah.
So human advisors, they really prioritize building that long-term relationship, maintaining communication, adapting the plan as life changes.
Yeah.
It's a much more high-touch experience than a robo-advisor.
Right. Which is much more
One size fits all.
one size fits all, kind of standardized.
Yeah, the personalization is limited to,
Right.
you know, how you answer a questionnaire, which then puts you into
Right.
a predefined model portfolio.
Yeah.
Not much flexibility for nuance.
Yeah.
Multiple goals,
Right. Yeah.
specific preferences.
And you interact mainly through a website or an app.
Right.
And customer support is mostly for
Technical issues.
technical issues.
Yeah.
And that Vanguard survey we keep talking about really highlighted that difference in what people value.
Yeah.
You know, people want that human connection from an advisor
Yeah.
and the understanding, but they appreciate the efficiency of digital tools
Right.
for the routine stuff.
For managing the portfolio.
Yeah.
Seeing reports.
Yeah, so again, maybe it's a combination of the two.
Right.
And for expats, that customization is even more important.
Oh, yeah. Crucial.
You know, if you need an advisor who understands cross-border banking regulations,
Yeah. Or time zones.
or time zones,
Yeah.
you know someone who's available when you are.
Right.
And some robos even.
Some robos will restrict or close accounts.
Wow. Yeah. If you're a non-resident.
Because of the regulations.
Wow. So yeah, for that customized service,
Yeah.
humans really win.
Especially for complex international needs.
Okay, let's talk about trust.
Okay.
Because that's a huge part of
Yeah.
any financial advisory relationship.
Yeah.
So how do AI and humans compare when it comes to building that trust?
So trust is historically where human advisors have excelled,
Okay.
you know, building those long-term relationships. And surveys consistently show that investors have way more trust in humans
Okay.
than in robo-advisors.
Which makes sense because...
Well, it's that human connection, right?
Right.
Empathy, shared understanding. You know, human advisors can show empathy.
Yeah.
They can act ethically,
Right.
build trust through communication transparency,
Right.
and they're committed to their clients' best interests. And, you know, clients often develop a bond with their advisor
Right.
over years of working together,
Right.
you know, through different life events, financial decisions.
So it creates a deeper trust.
Yeah, and loyalty.
Right.
And there's also that accountability factor.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong,
Yeah.
you have someone to talk to.
Right.
You know someone to get answers from.
Versus a robo-advisor where it's just...
Yeah, it's like this opaque system.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's happening.
Right. And no one to hold accountable.
Right.
Yeah. So...
You know, we have to acknowledge
Yeah.
that trust in technology is changing, especially among younger people. They've grown up with digital solutions.
Right.
They might be more comfortable with them.
Okay.
And they might even see AI as
Less biased.
less biased, yeah,
Okay.
you know, than humans.
Right.
And that trust can grow
Right.
with consistent performance,
Yeah.
transparency,
Okay.
you know, showing how things work.
And of course, trust in human advisors isn't perfect either.
No.
You know, there have been scandals,
Right.
conflicts of interest.
Yeah.
So some people are attracted to the perceived objectivity of
Right.
an AI platform,
Yeah.
you know, if they're worried about a human advisor.
Recommending products
Right.
for their own business.
For commissions.
Yeah.
But a big barrier to trusting robos is still
that black box.
that black box, yeah.
Not really understanding how they make decisions.
Right.
And that's hard for some people.
So even though trust in AI is growing,
Yeah.
that human relationship element,
That personal interaction.
especially in those critical moments.
Yeah. When you really need someone.
Yeah.
It still matters a lot.
And the fact that
Way less likely.
human advised clients
Yeah.
are much less likely to switch to a robo
Right.
than the other way around.
Yeah.
Suggests that.
People value that relationship.
Yeah. And for expats who are dealing with
Oh, yeah.
institutions in different countries.
It's even more important.
Yeah, having a trusted advisor who understands
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, navigate all that.
Yeah, that can bring a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah.
So institutional trust
Right.
might apply to robos that are backed by
Yeah. Big name companies.
big name companies.
Yeah.
But personal trust with a human
Goes deeper.
goes deeper.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about costs, because
Okay.
that's obviously
Big factor.
a big factor for a lot of people.
Yeah. This is where robos and AI really have the advantage.
So. Okay.
Traditional human advice is expensive. AI is much cheaper.
So we're talking a big difference in those fees.
Yeah. Big difference.
Yeah.
Robos are often charging like 0.25% or less,
And human advisors,
closer to 1%,
closer to 1% or more.
sometimes more.
Yeah. So on a $50,000 portfolio,
Yeah.
that's a difference of
Hundreds of dollars a year.
hundreds of dollars a year, and
Yeah.
on 500,000, thousands.
Yeah.
And over time, that adds up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
And robos usually invest in those low-cost index funds,
Yeah.
ETFs, to keep costs down.
And they're automated.
Right.
So very low transaction costs.
Right.
And the fee structure is usually simple,
Right.
transparent.
You can see what you're paying.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas with some human advisors, especially commission-based ones,
Yeah.
it can be less clear.
Right.
And there's that potential conflict of interest
Yeah.
if they're getting paid.
To recommend certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we are seeing a lot more of these.
Yeah.
Fee-only fiduciary advisors.
Yeah. Who are legally obligated.
legally obligated
Yeah.
to act in the client's best interest.
Yeah.
And they charge a direct, transparent fee.
Yeah.
But it's still important to understand how
How they're getting paid.
they're getting paid.
Yeah. And then on the transparency of the advice itself,
Mm-hmm.
AI can be a bit of a black box,
Yeah.
in terms of
Like why?
why they're recommending certain things.
Yeah.
Even though their reporting on fees and performance is very clear
Right.
through those dashboards.
Yeah.
Whereas a human advisor can
Right.
explain their thinking,
Yeah.
answer your questions.
But AI has that lack of bias.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
influenced by sales targets commissions.
Yeah.
It's just doing
It's doing its thing.
its thing.
Yeah. Based on the program.
And a lot of robos have
Yeah.
very low
Or no minimums.
or no minimum investment requirements.
Yeah. Which makes them really accessible to
Serve for beginners.
beginners. Yeah.
So AI wins on cost.
Wins on cost. Yeah.
But the higher human fees might be justified
Right.
if you need that.
The service
Yeah, the comprehensive advice.
is
that's there.
especially for expats
Right.
who might, need that extra guidance.
Yeah, they might save on fees, but
Right.
need more help.
This is a long-term relationship. Choosing the right financial advisor is like choosing a dance partner. You want someone who gets your rhythm and can lead with confidence.
That's a great way to put it. It's about that harmony, that shared understanding that makes the whole experience fun and worthwhile. Thanks for walking us through this deep dive. Our listeners are walking away with so much knowledge and I think a whole new perspective on what's possible.
It's been great. And remember, this journey to financial well-being, it never really ends. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep working towards that financial freedom you deserve.
Well said. On that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, keep those minds curious and keep those financial goals in sight.